KVGB and 95.5 FM.
Sports Day is brought to you by Barton Community College. Explore your future and get started now. Visit gobarton.com.
Okay, Sports Day in 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, I mean, all that stuff's important. What it comes down to is it's a rivalry game, and we don't necessarily like Hayes, but we got to respect him. They got a lot of good athletes, and Coach Dreiling does a good job.
I was a freshman. I was setting goals, and one of them was to reach 1,000 points by the end of my high school career. I think getting 2,000 is just real cool.
We just knew they were going to play hard. We knew they crash hard. We knew that if we weren't boxing out and we weren't, trying to be the tougher team tonight, then it could get ugly for us.
We just needed to get stops on defense and make shots and play well, play together.
Left side, Bobby. Now Wilson looking to drive, blows by his man. Right hand layup, good, and the foul. A chance at 3 for Jalen Wilson.
We just had to kind of gain some composure a little bit. Obviously, it wasn't the way we wanted to start off. I got a lot to count for as far as, I let some guys get some shots up, and I was standing a little bit. But, it's such a long game.
Desi back to the top. Long 3. Good for Keese! Oh, my, that was a big one! He's got 18 in the game and 4 threes. That was forever away.
It was a better defensive, game. The whole game, I feel like we played really good, on the defensive side, keying into certain guys and rebounding. Credit my guys who was down there.
Overwhelmed. This team worked really hard this offseason. Man, we were low on fuel. Our Kroger Cottonelle Camaro was super fast. It was a tough battle day. We started 31st and worked our way up, lost track position, and just got it back there at the end.
For the record, a three-pointer good. Tying the record, Jason Tatum. He's got 52 points.
He knows he needs one more.
For the record, Aaron, we're not going to talk about that. Okay, so welcome to Sports Day on 1590 KVGB 95.5 FM. Welcome into the Monday show. Steve Webster joined in studio by Mr. Mike Hesher.
I made an appearance, okay? You had everybody in the country worried about me this morning.
You're wandering around down at Lake Barton today. Also, Mike Corson in on the program today. Welcome in, Michael.
Hello.
Okay, and the young Padawan Aaron Clark, who should have been paying attention down at the basketball game on Saturday night, being the color analyst, providing that insight for Panther fans. Instead, he's texting Corson to tell him that he saw 2 Buc-ee's T-shirts in the crowd. So there you go. That's what my guy's doing down there.
I'm multifaceted. Sounds like he was paying real close attention.
Yeah, he really was.
It was between games, I think. Let's look at the timestamp. We'll have to. But I can do both. I can't see a Buc-ee's squirrel and not think about Corson. He's got him downstairs. We've had discussions about it. You can't expect me to see one and not tell my main Bucky guy that there's Bucky representation out there.
You came up and told
Kansas.
me, and I just kind of let it slide, didn't I? I didn't show you enough attention. Next time you see a Buc-ee's T-shirt in the crowd at a basketball game, I will say, really? Really?
I didn't expect you to, but I figured Corson would appreciate it. He did the lovely story about Russell potentially getting a Buc-ee's a while back, and I thought he'd appreciate the representation out in Liberal.
Okay, so those are the fellas that are in here today. All right, on the show, Barton women's basketball coach Alan Clark, who's requested that he not be on the first segment after we get done with this first part, but he will be in here today. We haven't been able to move him. Jim Mizunas, Great Bend Tribune sports editor in here on the show today, and Great Bend wrestling coach Nathan Brockelman making his Monday appearance, leading into the Tuesday appearance, where he will talk about the 10 wrestlers that qualified for state today. He'll be talking about the Panther girls wrestling team that has 4 wrestlers going. They'll start on Wednesday and Thursday, and then then the boys on Friday and Saturday. And we've got our wrestling insider now. It's going to be doing the reports on Great Bend. Are you doing the Great Bend Post updates?
I don't know about that part. I know for sure I'll be providing the radio updates. I have not been told if I'm doing the Post updates. I imagine if I am, I'll be told tomorrow.
Right before.
Well, no, because I'll have like a day to get ready for it, Plus, typing up the updates can't be too hard.
All right, so there you go. Sounds of the past 24, or in this case, sounds of the weekend, Kyle Cree. His team beating Liberal on Saturday night, beat Dodge City on Friday, and they are now 11-8 overall, keeping their hopes alive for a home game in the first round of Sub-State. They head to Hayes on Friday night to take on the Hayes High Indians. So big rally for the Panthers on Friday. They win at 54-43, an 11-0 run to start the fourth quarter to take control of that game. Then Saturday at Liberal scored 74 points, gave up 56, a 2-point game at halftime. But, hey, you're on the road, you get a victory. You know, I think was talking to Mike this morning, Mr. Corson, about this Great Bend team right now, and they're playing okay. They're not playing great. And I think because we're used to seeing them improve every game, they've kind of plateaued a little bit here at the end of the season. Still playing good. They're going to have to play better if they want to, of course, have a shot at getting to the state tournament. But they have won the games, and they'll have a week to practice, busy week last week. So I think that's where the Panthers are right now.
And, you know, they went up against a Liberal team who doesn't have a good record on the year. They've moved to 2-15 now after that loss to the Panthers. But I don't think it can be understated the one-day turnaround for the Panthers. They played that Friday night before going out there to Liberal on Saturday. It's a long trip. But Liberal had been off for over a week at that point, had very fresh legs, getting a at-home game against the Panthers, who had to go to sleep late after those Panther games and then wake up, hop on a bus, drive to Liberal. And the Panthers could have played better, but I think it's still encouraging going forward, and they still got some momentum heading into the late season game with Hayes and then into Sub-State.
Okay, Britt Dutton on scoring 2,000 career points. He ended up getting 38 at Otis Bison on Friday night. I knew he was going to. I thought he'd get it in the first half. I mean, I really did. This is good. We talked about it Friday. Just go ahead and get your 2,000 career points, and now you can focus on, you know, your final regular season game is tomorrow. Go out and, you know, get some things done as far as execution and things like that. But he ended up getting 43 3/4. So Britt Dutton now 21st on the all-time Kansas boys basketball scoring list.
Needs 11 points to climb up into the top 20. I like his odds. But what's so strange about that, there were 48 kids coming into the year that had 2,000 points, 3 of them in the last 10 days, 2 of them Friday night.
And people all over, with all the attention this has got, are going back to their high schools and asking them, hey, do you got the scorebooks from 1969 through 72? I'd like to have my points.
We've got some word from Skyline that Steve Webster.
Oh, no, not at all, not at all.
They counted them up.
I was trying to figure out what it would be. You know, I probably got around 900.
That's a respectable number. I would think that would be very plausible.
You almost got a poster.
We didn't have the posters.
You don't get one for $950, but for $1,000, you'll get a big poster.
Really? I'll never know now, will I?
Well, he didn't have the 3-point line to send scorching.
There you go.
He easily would have had it.
So on the line every time.
Exactly. Line. All I needed was a 3-point line. I could have been playing in the Big 12. Okay. Austin Downing, assistant coach for the Barton men. They won Saturday night, 74-57, and it was a back-and-forth game early. Barton an 11-0 run at the end of the first half. So Barton just continues their surge. They've won 4 in a row. Lady Cougars, they were down by 5 at halftime. And then you say, okay, well, you want to go ahead and play? Okay, in the second half, they outscored Seward 40-15. That was Alyssa Heskamp talking about what they talked about at halftime, coming out and, play some defense, get some steals, score some points. Barton women, 17-4 in league play, 23-4 overall. Cougars hit the road Wednesday. They'll travel west to Goodland to take on Northwest Tech. Call Saturday on Hits 106.9. Jalen Wilson scores, fouled in the second half. I saw that score when we were down in Liberal, 87-71. Oh, yeah, KU, they must have rolled them. They didn't. They were down by 17 points in the first half. Jalen Wilson said you just keep chipping away at that lead, and it's always helpful if you go on a 10-0 run to start the second half. KU tied with Texas for the Big 12 lead at 10-4. Longhorns got past Oklahoma in overtime Saturday, 85-83. Baylor's one game back, and KU's in action tonight in Fort Worth. They'll play TCU, who blew out Oklahoma State Saturday, 100-75. In Manhattan, K-State desperate for a win. That's how they played. Wyatt Thompson the call on Lear Field. Marquise Noel hitting a 3 from Aggieville. That put the Cats ahead of the Cyclones 53-48. They hang on for a 61-55 victory. Noel with 20 points in the game to lead the Cats. He said it was defensive rebounding that won the day. K-State gets their shot at Baylor in Manhattan tomorrow night.
Watch that KU game. Bad first half. Baylor looked like a JV squad in the second half. That's how good KU looked. And it's just like, why can they not play like that more often? They would, in fact, be a genuine number 1 seed.
Play some defense, probably be a good start, right? I mean,
they did a little of everything.
In the first half or second half?
The second.
Okay. Well, they won it. K-State needed that game, too, against Iowa State. And so, yeah, KU tonight against TCU is going to be at full strength tonight.
Should be a good game, and we're getting to down to the point of the season where we just had the first projections for March Madness come out and starting to really have implications there where these wins and losses are going to be fresh in the minds of the people who are seeding the tournament, and should be a fun game tonight.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. I love the NASCAR guys. I really, really do.
Overwhelmed. This team worked really hard this offseason. Man, we were low on fuel. Our Kroger Cottonelle Camaro was super.
Right. You said our team's low on fuel. Okay, that could be any basketball coach in the state of Kansas this time of year. Oh, no, it was a legitimate Camaro. It was literally low on fuel.
It was, and,
And then he climbed the fence.
I'd like to thank our, what do we have? Our Ehlers Chevrolet
Z71.
Z71. I got in that truck going to Liberal. We got a new vehicle here, and I immediately had the urge. Now I know why those guys in those big trucks that have the 4-wheel drives, that the truck has never been off pavement, why they like to pull right up behind you and tailgate real close, because you get that power feel, right? That's the way I felt. Man, that truck's huge. It's nice, man. Wasn't it? We got a Z79 that's 73 turbo.
It was one of the comfiest trips to Liberal I've ever had. Wasn't struggling for leg room or shoulder room or anything, man.
It could even spread you out in the back. You would back in the truck bed.
Boat, man.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. wins the Daytona 500, and Jason Tatum scored 55 in the NBA All-Star game. There you go, Sounds. The past 24 hours.
It was an All-Star game high.
Was it flag basketball?
Yeah,
pretty much.
I don't really know.
184 to 70. We're talking about it. We're talking about it. You lured me in. No, we're talking about it.
Move on.
State wrestling this week. Great Bend gets 10 in on the boys' side.
Really incredible. That was whatever Brockelman said last week. The West was by far the bigger powerhouse, and so some of those kids that Great Bend Advanced had 5 or 6 of the ranked wrestlers, so basically the whole ranked field in their bracket, and still get 10 out in the top 8 in their respective brackets.
They finished 5th in that.
And
Super Regional, too. That's pretty good.
The teams that finished above them were all, I think, top 6 teams in Class 5A. That's how tough that was.
How'd Hoisington do, Mr. Wrestling Man? Or have you done your research yet?
I haven't been able to look into that. Me and Korsner are actually going to get on that after.
They finished 2nd at the regional, but Hoxie was there. I think Hoxie won 9 individual regional titles.
I did hear that.
Connor Nichols said you can just mail it in.
I think they're going to push for a state record on points.
Yeah.
One thing about the Great Bend boys, we've talked a lot about the freshmen on the boys basketball side. Had 3 freshmen qualify for state for the boys: Tristan Tomlinson, Hayden Kelly, and Trenton Kern. So freshmen providing a lot of spark here in the winter sports.
Let me see. So what you're telling me here is that Great Bend freshman class is pretty good.
And 2 girls. 2 of the 4 girls that qualified are freshmen.
Kaylee
So
McMullen,
what you're telling me,
and Natalie Daniels.
freshman class
Put your
is-
shades on, kids. Your future's bright.
Barton baseball. They swept a 4-game series from Western Nebraska Community College Sunday afternoon at Lawson Biggs Field, winning 4-3, 11-1. Barton softball team, they finished up their 4-game swing to Weatherford, Texas. With a Saturday split of games, they went 2-2 at the Coyote Chill Out. Is that a Coyote Chill Out or is it a Coyote Chill Out? I'll go with Coyote.
Do they play when it days like today where it's 65, no wind? Nobody's playing?
Yeah, exactly.
We gotta wait till it's 38 and windy.
Yeah, that baseball game out there, the wind was helping at Lawson Biggs Field on Saturday. High school basketball from Friday night. Garden City wins the WAC on the boys' side. They've had a great year, 18-1. Are they the best team in the state? Probably not, but that's what happens. You get some tall guys, some shooters, and guys that have played for a long, long time, and they're undefeated right now. They'll wrap up their regular season tomorrow, and they beat Hayes 56-48. Hoisington. Hesh gets another win. They're over the 500 mark on the boys' side, 61-43. Hoiston girls beat Nickerson 45-22. Pratt over Larned, 63-34. Pratt over the Larned girls, 58-32. Ellenwood boys, again, Dutton with 38. They beat Otis Bison 89-33. Other boys scores, Central Plains beat Kinsley 44-37. Maxville over St. John 68-30. La Crosse, they've had a nice season. Watch La Crosse. The 1A brackets are out for Substate. I was kind of surprised by that, but they won over Mineola 69-47. Ellenwood girls beat Otis Bison Friday 42-28. Central Plains over Kinsley 57-15. St. John beat Maxville 54-31, and it was Mineola over La Crosse by the score of 64-50.
So my Panthers are 3-0. I got the undefeated Emporia win, Hayes blowout, Dodge City. Rumor is I could be good luck.
We
So
just
if
got to
I'm
keep
needed at
coursing
Substate,
around.
I will try to sign up for the Great Bend game.
Oh, so you're trying to jump on the bandwagon here, yet where were you Saturday? Mr. Good Luck Charm. No,
You could have
I'm
seen
the
some
Good Luck
Bucky
Charm,
shirts.
but I'm not
You're
going to go
welcome,
to Liberal
KU.
with them with it.
You're welcome, KU. I was watching. Turned it on just for the second half.
So now
What happened?
We need to find out the record, like your overall record, every game you've watched, tally it up to find out if you're good record or good luck, bad luck, or just neutral. Have to, if you like,
It could be pure chance.
I think you got to be at least 2-1 to be good luck.
And by the way, before we move on, Alan Clark, we're going to talk to him. If you listed Trading Post this morning, Mike Hesher was missing.
Are you serious?
So, but he was found. He was found wandering around in the bottoms of Old Lake Barton after he was startled by the horse bucking off the girl into the tree, breaking the 5 duck eggs, and Hesher had gone there Friday, and then he ran. How was it down there over the weekend, man?
I was on my deathbed, and you're making fun of it.
I was.
Gee, Christmas. By the way, what happened in Liberal? I turn it on like at halftime, and I hear Westerman, and then I hear all of these other things going. What? I was thinking, uh-oh.
It was the longest homecoming in the history.
Seriously.
It was a good learning experience for Aaron Clark, how to navigate that. We had a good interview with Chris Thexton.
That's who it was.
Liberal native.
That's who it was.
Yeah, a liberal native. Yeah, we had that.
Yeah, that was good.
Well, they went out there to start the second half, between games. Said, okay, well, they got this interview with Chris. It's going to work good. It's going to back time in. Well, no. And the teams came out, and they were warming up for about 10 minutes. I don't know, maybe the eventual queen was not there. And then the players got off the court again, and then they had the ceremony. And
then they start the 20-minute timer.
Then they start the 20-minute timer. But we had good stuff on there.
The only thing that helped me out was I did not get a nasty text from Webby saying you messed up the laws or something, so I didn't feel quite so bad. But
why would I send you a text like that?
Because you normally do.
The only text that I ever sent you this year was, we got to fix this.
This is true. You did say that.
I think you were on your deathbed that weekend, too. What's the deal here?
Man. Well, as I told you, I think it's either the state of Kansas or the COVID vaccine.
I think maybe it's not what you're.
Okay.
Maybe you need to go back to Colorado for a booster. I don't know what's happening here. You come back here and you're sick all the time.
God.
Are you feeling okay now, though?
I'm better.
Yes, the opposite of elevation sickness or of altitude sickness.
Flatlander sickness.
There you go.
I was just testing him to see if he could still yell, and he does. So he's good to go for tomorrow's Trading Post program.
I cough after I yell.
Oh, look. But will he go to the doctor? No.
He's stubborn.
They've got that test for monkeypox now that you can make sure that you don't have it.
Man, your
as
phone
you're
is
sitting
blowing
next to
up
Mike.
over there.
I know. They're saying get on to the other stuff. Alan Clark, head coach of the Barton Lady Cougars, coming up next on Sports Day.
Explore the world of Rossum's Universal Robots presented by Barton Theater with multiple showings from March 2nd through the 4th and March 9th through the 11th. In this sci-fi suspense classic, humans have created robots meant to serve humankind, but the robots have other plans and an epic battle between man and machine erupts. The show has been adapted and modernized by Barton Theater from the original 1921 production. Visit shows.bartonccc.edu for tickets.
You don't have to be a tech expert to enjoy the latest devices. Get a Samsung Galaxy S22 Plus or iPhone 14 Pro Max half off at Next Tech Wireless. Not only are you getting a great deal on those devices, you're also getting them with a great customer service guarantee. We'll help you get your information transferred from your old phone and help you learn the ins and outs of your new phone. Next Tech Wireless.
The future is bright at Cornwell Farms in St. John. Join us for our 7th annual Angus Bull and Female Sale Tuesday, March 7th at La Crosse Livestock Market, selling at 1 p.m. On the sale, offering 55 Angus Bulls, including yearlings, 18-month-olds, and 2-year-olds, 20 fall and spring cow-calf pairs, including 3-in-1 packages. The bulls offered are sired by the best AI bulls in the industry, including Growth Fund, Patriarch, Hometown, Rainfall, Surefire, Unique, Regiment, Rawhide, and more. Performance tested, fertility tested, and ready for service. You can be sure to buy with confidence when you are selecting our genetics. For more information and to find our catalog, visit us online at cornwellfarms.com or on Facebook at Cornwell Farms Angus. Again, Cornwell Farms of St. John is holding their annual Angus Bull and Female Sale at 1 p.m. La Crosse Livestock Market, La Crosse, Kansas. Tuesday, March 7th. Lunch at noon. Cornwell Farms for over 100 years.
Hey everyone, this is Cole Wright, voice of the Barton Cougars. Attending sporting events for Barton Community College is great, but did you know you can support the athletic teams even further by getting involved with the Cougar Booster Club? The Boosters help with fundraising for equipment and facility upgrades to give Barton athletes every opportunity to keep succeeding at the regional and national levels. Join the Cougar Booster Club as an individual or business. Call 620-792-9377. Become a booster today. Go Cougars.
Now, in its second decade, it's Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department.
Welcome back, Cougar Paws. Many shows this morning. It's Sports Day here on 1590 KVGB. We do have a Cougar in studio, the head coach of the Barton Lady Cougars, Alan Clark. His team comes up with a win on Saturday. We heard from Alyssa Heskamp, what was said at halftime. I said, well, yeah, I think it was pretty easy. Coach Clark went and said, okay, let's go out and outscore them in the second half, 40-15, and we'll just go on about our way. This team has some spurt ability, as they say, Alan.
It does, and when we get it going from inside and out, yeah, we can score some points in a hurry, but it all starts on the defensive end, and Alyssa alluded to that as well. She did a great job. Talked to her and a couple of others about going the offensive boards a little bit in the second half, and she did that, and she got her hands on the basketball several times to keep it alive. Not necessarily got it herself, but gave us a second chance, and we used all those extra opportunities.
Had 5 rebounds, a couple of assists, didn't score that much, but tell me what Alyssa Heskamp does for this basketball team.
She just brings a lot to the team. Brings energy and smart. She's very smart. She can get to the basket. She didn't finish as well as she usually does on Saturday, but she had a big three. Score was tied 35 all, and she had a big three from the top of the key that gave us the lead. And first lead since earlier in the game, probably first 5 minutes of the game, and that was huge for us to finally get that lead.
I was in Liberal, and Brock Kappelman we were setting up our equipment and everything, and of course he was monitoring the game over there on his radio there, and he was saying, wow, our women went out to Northwest Tech and laid an egg on Thursday, and man, they're up at halftime. And then he came back, I don't know, probably about 30 minutes later, said, never mind.
Yeah, they've had some injuries. Seward's had some injuries, lost their point guard, been out for a while. So, not having her hurts them a little bit. They also lost a backup kid that played quite a bit, and but when they're playing well, they're pretty good too.
Big week for your basketball team, wasn't it?
It was having Butler on Wednesday, coming in ranked, and that was the first half that game. That kind of did it in.
Okay, right now you got Dodge City on top. They are 20-1, and now you're second at 17-4. Butler's 16-5. New rankings will come out. Hopefully, you move up a couple this week, and then you got Hutch, but pretty much locked up not yet, but pretty much locked up a first-round bye in the tournament.
Yeah, we have. Even now, if we would lose all 3 games and Hutch would win their 2, we would end up in a tie. And Hutch, since we beat Hutch once, and then we split with Hutch, so that's a draw, and then we beat Butler, and so that would give us the tiebreaker.
Go to Goodland.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one.
Jones.
Yeah.
So you told me this was when it came back to the second semester. The Northwest had added a player, and they've been a heck of a lot better here in the second.
Oh yeah, they're and they're just getting better all the time. You look at the scores in the first round. When they played Cloud beat them pretty bad, and then the next time, of course, first one was at Cloud, second one was at Goodland, and Northwest Tech ended up beating them in that game. But you go up and down the line, looking at scores, and even if they lost by 30 the first time, they maybe only lost by 10 the second time. So they're much, much better.
Have they, besides adding some personnel, they're just improving?
Yeah, they're just getting better. Their kids are finishing better. They got 2 sisters, 6'2". They're finishing around the basket better. Defensively, they're better. They're really long and athletic. They create a lot of turnovers. They created, I think, 34 turnovers. That's what did Seward in, was 34 turnovers. So,
we talked about the 40-15 second half. You're down by 5 at halftime. Your team spurred ability. You score some points quickly. And you guys have gone hot and cold in some games this year. I mean, you change your stripes
yeah. And a lot of it depends on us offensively, execution. Obviously, I mean, look at KU this weekend against Baylor. A lot of it's execution, and a lot of the execution is just movement, movement of the ball, player movement. I tell them all the time, I'm 64 years old and pretty slow, never was quick. I could guard them if they just stand still, So getting movement, getting the ball moving, getting the ball inside, playing inside out. That's a big key for us.
What's it like playing? Does it feel like you're playing in a tournament game when you're out at Goodland? Because everything's, black and gold, and you're playing a team that's red.
Yeah.
On their home court.
Yeah. It's a different feeling for sure out there. They don't have a great crowd, although they have, they do get a few people in there. We'll have some make the trip. We've got enough Kansas kids, Western Kansas kids.
Yeah.
Parents will make the trip. But it's a tough place. We've had some success there in the past, and hopefully that'll continue.
And you get Colby on Saturday then.
Then that'll be sophomore night, last regular season home game. We got a lot of sophomores that'll be celebrating that, and then hopefully we can take care of business on Wednesday, and then have a good day on Saturday.
Yeah. No. So the Dodge City game, and unless they lose 3 in a row, I guess maybe that's a question for next week. But I'll just throw it out there. So how do you prep for that game? You don't throw out something new to go out and try to knock them off in that game, do you?
Well, we might look at some different things and see what works. I don't know yet. Looking right now for Wednesday against Northwest Tech. But yeah, the Dodge City game, as far as standings or anything else, it will have very little meaning. And then hopefully it won't be the last time we play them. 23-4
right now. So it's getting those wins up there a little bit. Do you spend time looking at what's happening in some of the other regions right now?
I don't spend a lot of time with it, just mainly ourselves. I look and see, just if there's teams that are ahead of us, like a Casper or a Moberly or Eastern Arizona, who's, right ahead of us, see what they're doing. But as far as the rest of them, I really don't pay that much attention to it.
And plus, getting an at-large if you got an at-large bid to the tournament, would be neat. Mm-hmm. But it's not like cutting the nets down, is it?
Exactly. Yeah, you'd much rather cut the nets down for sure. Yeah, sure enough.
Okay.
All right, man.
How do you think your team's playing right now? Obviously, you've won 7 in a row. Not bad.
Yeah, we're just inconsistent within the game. Just like, the Butler game first half was great. Second half, we just kind of went through the motions. And Seward game just the opposite. We weren't very good in the first half. Or I shouldn't say we weren't very good. We were just average in the first half, and that's why it was a close game. And that's why Seward was up 5. But we were really, really good again in the second half, and we just got to put 40 minutes together.
Well, good luck out in Goodland on Wednesday, and then sophomore.
You're not coming out?
I was going to, but
I thought Cole said you were coming with him.
Where can we eat though?
That's the problem is they out there early. By the time the men's game is over, everything's shut down out there in Goodland, and so it makes it tough.
Okay,
but so you're only going to go if we got a place to eat.
Well, no. There's that little bar in Waukene you can stop at on the way back. They've got some pretty good sandwiches and stuff there.
That's quite a ways back.
The Tornado.
That's what it's called, the Tornado?
Yeah, the
I'll have to ask
Tornado.
Lily about it, see if she knows anything about
I
it.
bet she does. Okay, thanks, Alan.
Thanks.
Alan Clark joining us here on Sports Day. Jim Mizunas coming up next here on the program.
If you need physical therapy, consider Advanced Therapy in Great Bend and Progressive Therapy in Larned and Hayes.
I had a young gal come in the other day who has been having chronic back pain. Did a session just helping her to understand her pain, not understanding her back, but teaching her how her nervous system works. And just that knowledge just calmed her down so much. She came back in this morning, huge smile on her face, and she was so excited to learn more. It was a blast.
Call Advanced or Progressive Therapy and Sports Medicine to explore your treatment options and get your life back.
You don't have to miss a beat from the Kansas State High School Wrestling Tournament thanks to Hits 106.9 and B104.3 The Point. Our quick and reliable reports will keep you in the loop on all the matches. Girls on Wednesday and Thursday, boys on Friday and Saturday, with recaps on Sunday. Starting at 9 a.m., get a rundown of the latest results and know who's on top. State wrestling coverage is powered by Hazmat Response, Stone Sand Company and Stone Waste Management, Johnson Electric Motor Winding, and Dom Pipe Testing.
Superior Essex of Hoisington has 2 new exciting career opportunities available for a manufacturing supervisor and a maintenance planner scheduler. There are also production associate opportunities available. Superior Essex offers outstanding wages, and they also offer a competitive benefits package, including Blue Cross Blue Shield, Delta Dental, 401k with company match, vacation, and holiday pay, plus a sign-on bonus up to $5,000. Are you the right person for the job? Apply at any Kansas Works office or at superioressex.com.
He's a veteran of high school and college sports coverage in Kansas. Sports Day presents the Great Bend Tribune's Jim Mizunas.
Welcome back, Sports Day here on 1590 KVGB 95.5 FM. Jim Mizunas, you did something I've never heard anybody do before.
Yeah, what was that?
You complimented Hash.
Wow. Well, he's over his steroids, so he's on the good side now.
So you like something he did Friday night?
Yeah, it was nice. I mean,
good
Poisington dug a hole 9-2, and Hesh had that little worried voice in his, inflection, and then the rest of it was pretty easy.
And his grandson was playing.
How'd he look? I heard he got 38 in a JV game. So what? How'd he do?
He was a sophomore. I mean, he's got a lot of. There's room for improvement, I guess, is a nice way. I looked, honestly, out of the ones that played for Nickerson, he probably was in the top 2 or 3. They didn't look like they had a lot of talent.
Well, he had a nice block shot. You described that flawlessly. Was it Haxton? I think it was Haxton.
I think it was.
Yeah, Haxton was tearing it up. Well, so was Moore. I mean, they had tremendous games.
Okay.
Yeah, Hoisington boys and girls, I'll tell you what, they are playing well. Both teams are playing well.
Been against some lesser competition.
Yeah,
however.
but they take care of business.
They had to win. Those are the games they had to win.
Yeah, they're taking care of business.
They're taking care of business.
So where are they sitting? Are they going to be able to sneak? Because
okay, this is what
you don't want to play Southeast. You don't want to play Beloit.
The boys right now they are, and I cannot find out if Phillipsburg won Friday night or not. They would own the tiebreaker on Phillipsburg, so they would, and they could possibly get up to Smoky Valley. They could get finished 6th to avoid those top 2.
Okay.
They have to win on Tuesday, and then have Smoky Valley lose on Tuesday.
Didn't they lose to Phillipsburg?
No, they beat Phillipsburg.
Oh, okay.
Who's Hoisington got Tuesday?
Hillsboro.
Hillsboro's playing really well. Their boys and girls are really tough.
But I noticed the Hillsboro's pretty much playing the same
team. That's right.
Hoisington doing. They're playing some lesser competition.
Yep. They lost a lot last year, except their point guard's pretty good. So, okay, we're going to change this around here because Something happened over the weekend I thought was really, really cool. A Great Bend Panthers swimmer finishing second at state. And the Panthers always bring a good contingent. They usually have 3 relays there, maybe a couple other events. We had to have a silver medalist at the state swimming tournament.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. Ellis Long, who placed 7th last year and got the school record, rebroke his record and has that, but gets second in the 100 breaststroke, which is a tremendous achievement. I mean, it's just like if you go to state wrestling, you want to be on the medal stand, you want to be in the championship match, but to be in the finals and just get edged out by Andover Central swimmer to get second in the state is a tremendous accomplishment. So congratulations to Ellis Long.
That's, Sports Day salute.
Yeah, wrestling and swimming, those are two, like, hey, those people, they work hard every day.
Exactly.
It's just like, hey, you tip your cap to those wrestlers and the swimmers because practice is no different than a meet. It's just like, it's hard work. So
every muscle in your body.
Yeah, that's right. And that's why those two sports are certainly intriguing, but I would check them off and say, no, not going to do that. Not going to do that one.
Wrestling from the weekend. Thoughts?
Yeah, it was Great Bend got through what they thought they could if all things worked out, and they got 10, which is what Coach Brockelman thought he could at the top end, and they got 10. So what's crazy is the way the state does the wrestling is just absurd. Like 10 of the top 14 top-ranked wrestlers were at Andover, and like 80% of the top 10 weights were, it was like 5 out of 6 were from Andover. 4 out of 6 were from Andover. 6 out of 6 were from Andover. So in the top 10 weights, 84% of those wrestlers were top 6 ranked. So it just, now if you can get through
How
that
could you do it any different?
Well, you could go, I suppose you could go north-south. I mean, it's just weird that, because Kansas City football used to not be very good at all. Then all of a sudden, all the Blue Valleys and all the Shawnee Missions started getting real good the last 10 years because basically if you were Derby or you were 5A, 6A, you pretty much won state. Then, Measho's been good, but all of a sudden 5A, 6A football started getting really good up in Kansas City area. So that's evened out. But, just like Hoxie, KansasWrestling.org has rankings for each class. They also have an overall ranking. Guess which team is number 1 ranked in the boys division? Hoxie. They're number 1. So they've got the best wrestlers, better than any 5A, 6A, 4A school in the state, which shows you how tough they are.
They may get an exemption and then just go to Wichita this weekend instead of going to Hayes.
Well, I'm sure the Wichita 5A, 6A schools are happy about that because, they would, because there was a big meet where Hoxie won it mid-season, and they just showed, hey, these guys are legit.
Yeah, because, see, Garden City, isn't it going to be neat to see who they play? If they win their semifinal. I mean, who are they going to get out there that gets to travel?
She gets to travel, yeah. It's just wild. And, the nice thing about Garden City, because Great Bend they had their shot. They had a couple shots to tie and win the game. And, that's pretty much the league championship. I think everybody knew that was the only team that was going to really challenge them. And Garden City's won out. I mean, it's the best season they've had ever in school history. That's pretty impressive.
And they've got a nice team.
They've got some height. They play that zone really well, and they got some shooters. So, it was a good game and Great Bend played them decent out there in Garden City too. They just had a stretch in the one quarter where it just fell apart in about 90 seconds.
Those darn half-court shots.
Yeah.
They'll be interesting to watch. Great Bend. Because I was asked, well, how they plan? I said, well, they've kind of just leveled out a little bit. Doesn't mean we can't make the next jump because we got used to seeing Great Bend improve every game. But I think over the last couple of weeks, they've been playing okay, not great.
Yeah, playing well enough to compete and win most of their games. But, when you think about the best games they've played, that's how well they'll have to play to possibly beat Hutch High in that championship game because I have them ticketed. I don't see them getting out of the 8-9 slot. The difference is if you can beat Hayes, at least you get that game at home. If you lose to Hayes, guess where you're going
next week? So you pretty much
week?
have it figured out that it's going to be Hayes and Great Bend back to back.
Again, Hayes could lose Tuesday, but it's a real possibility that it'll be Hayes and Great Bend back to back, which, well, next week's the more important game, but would you rather play that game at home? Yeah, I think you'd rather play that game at home than drive the bus to Hayes.
Yeah, after you throttled them here earlier this year, Hayes is going to be motivated. That's going to be a fun game on Friday night with a lot on the line.
Yeah, the fascinating thing about that is this happens before where you play back-to-back. And I agree with you 100%. You don't show everything that you've got. You just say, okay, this game doesn't matter to the large degree because next week might matter more. So you really don't show everything. Central Plains girls has the exact same situation. They played Little River Tuesday night, and it's a preview of a likely semifinal game in Little River next week. So I know Coach Stiles well enough. He isn't going to show Little River everything he's got. He's going to wait till next week when it really matters, and they have to beat Little River and Pretty Prairie back to back. So, but it'll be a fascinating game Tuesday for Central Plains girls. It's just fascinating. They've won 52 consecutive postseason games at Central Plains, and this is the toughest sub-state they've ever faced in the last 12 years, 13 years.
If they get through this year.
Again, the sub-state may end up being 3 tougher games than they'll see in the state tournament, perhaps. I mean, they're going to see a state champion in Pretty Prairie and a state qualifier in Little River, and St. John pushed Little River to 1 point last year to go to the state tournament. So St. John's playing well, too. So,
speaking back at Great Bend, if they've got to go to Hutch, I'd rather have to go to Hutch than have to go to Capon.
Oh, absolutely. I thought Capon was the best team I've seen.
Oh, easily. And Hutchinson presses, and I think that plays right into Great Bend's hands. And
they played perfect the first quarter.
Yep.
Prima brought the ball up. They attacked it. They had the lead after 1 quarter, but that pressure got to them late in the game, and they turned it over 3 straight times. It was like 6 points. It's like, what happened? Is it 14-point lead now?
Yeah.
But no, they can definitely play with Hutch. Hutch is big guys. Great Bend has the advantage there. Their guards are really good, but Great Bend has the advantage of the guards. But, yeah, it's going to be a fascinating week and a fascinating game at Hayes Friday night.
Yeah, looking forward to that as we get into postseason. It is kind of hard to – 1A brackets are already out.
Yeah, so that's nice. I mean, I like and maybe that's the lack of officials that they play those first games Thursday and get them out of the way so they're back to 4 teams in each sub-state. So I think it has something to do with the officiating.
So those games start on Thursday then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Thursday. And the other note is the bowlers go over to Hutchinson Wednesday for their regional, and Great Bend girls, they pretty much dominated the league and surely are going to be a strong candidate to qualify for state. And Kaylin Wallmeyer won 5A state last year, and they've had 4 or 5 girls play well all year, so they dominated the WAC, and they should be fine in the regional Wednesday. If you go top 3, you go to the state tournament the next week at Wichita. And the boys have an outside shot. If they play their best, they've got an outside shot, and maybe they'll get an individual or 2 at the very least. So that's Wednesday at Hutchinson.
Jimbo, sounds good. So are you going to Hayes Friday, or where are you going? You got so many different.
Yeah, it's sort of tricky because you got, if wrestling was not going on, but you got to keep track of wrestling Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and they play a lot of matches in wrestling. It's
yes,
like,
they
wait
really,
a minute, they're wrestling 3 matches in a day. Yeah, that's just wrestling.
I don't know how you do it, but and you're doing a great job down there keeping people informed, and it's always nice to see those photos in the papers. So keep it up, Jimbo. We'll see you next week.
Okay, thanks, Steve, and good luck this week.
Okay, Jim Mizunas here with us. Coming up next, Mike Corson on the prowl. Yes, indeed. Talking with Nathan Brockman, talking about Great Bend Lady Panther Wrestling. They get started on Wednesday. That's next on Sports Day.
From the Mayo Money Management Studios, 1590 KVGB, Great Bend, and 95.5 FM K238CK, Hoisington.
To be the king of the road, you have to fill with the king of diesels. We're talking about Cenex Premium Diesel. It comes with a more complete additive package for a more complete burn. Cenex Roadmaster XL even cleans up and prevents injector fouling to keep your trucks out of the shop and on the road. And typical number 2 diesel? That's always an option. The wrong option. Cenex Premium Diesel. Diesel that doesn't mess around.
Contact American Plains Co-op in Great Bend, your certified Cenex distributor today.
Venture Corporation is a homegrown company with almost 50 years of experience in asphalt, paving, and construction. They have quite a few jobs scheduled for the new year, and they need equipment operators, mechanics, and CDL drivers. Venture offers many benefits, including 401k and Blue Cross Blue Shield health insurance. Call Leslie for all the details. Work for a family-owned and family-oriented company that is here today and will be here in the future. Venture Corporation, South Highway 281, Great Bend, is an equal opportunity employer.
Chris, this needs to go to Parkville by 3.
Joy to the holiday packages that keep coming at Jimenez Couriers.
It's coming your way, but the drop-off location is changing.
She needs delivery drivers with the gift of punctuality.
Anyone looking to pick up some overtime? Anyone?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Let me guess. Unknown caller? You could reduce the number of unwanted calls and emails with online privacy protection. The latest innovation from Discover will help regularly remove your personal info, like your name and address, from 10 popular people search websites that could sell your data. And we'll do it for free. Activate in the Discover app. See terms and learn more at discover.com/online privacy protection.
Sports Day presents On the Prowl with Mike Corson, an inside look at all the sports at Great Bend High School.
Welcome back to Sports Day, 1590 GB, 95.5 FM. Mike Corson, joined today by Panther wrestling coach Nathan Brockelman. Really nice weekend for you guys.
Yeah, it was a pretty good weekend. You know, we got 10 kids through, and I kind of thought we'd get anywhere from 8 to 12, so we're kind of right there in that middle number, which is always a good thing.
And you had talked about before how super regional, but this one was the super regional with so many of the state's ranked kids, ranked teams, kind of played out in the top 5. You guys get 5th, but everybody above you was, what, top 5 teams in the state?
I believe so. I think the rest of them were in the top 5. I think the only one on the East was STA, and I think STA won the East Regional. Blue Valley Southwest kind of gave them a run a little bit over there, but, you know, when you have 8 of the top 10 teams in one regional and only 2 of the top 10 teams in the other regional, you kind of expect those 2 to battle it out, and we were fortunate enough to finish in the top 5 and get 10 kids to state.
Taking 10 to state, I haven't looked to see what those other teams did, but does that kind of change the game where maybe you are in team contention for at least some hardware?
You know, you just never really know. Just kind of depends on what the kids do next week. I think maybe we're in contention for being the top 5. I didn't necessarily think we'd be that close to a 3rd place finish this weekend, but, you know, our boys wrestled well. As long as they continue to keep improving and make sure we get peaked there at state this Friday, Saturday, then, you know, we could maybe bring home a third place trophy. I think Newton and Mays are too far out there for anybody to compete with. You know, I think maybe Newton might be able to take Mays run for their money. As you can kind of see this weekend, it was close until the finals, but that all changes when you get all the good kids together. Some of those kids maybe not win those final matches with, you know, quite the dominance.
We'll kind of try to touch on all your 10 qualifiers here, but we'll start at 144 just because there was all 6 ranked kids were in that bracket, and Jay Shart still pulls out a 3rd place finish.
Yeah, Jay pulled out a 3rd place finish. He was the 6th seed, I believe, going in because there was some head-to-heads and some commons in there. You know, Jace kind of had a loss early in the season that hurt him as far as the seeds go, but he was able to finish 3rd, which is kind of where I thought he'd be in that 1, 2, 3, 4 range. He did take a forfeit for 3rd and 4th. He wrestled a kid from Andover early in the day, and their coach just said that they were forfeiting is all I'm going to say. I think there's a little bit of bracket play in there that they think maybe they have a better shot on the other side, which is unfortunate. You know, that's the thing that comes with super regionals is it's great to be able to get the best 8 to state, but you obviously know who's going to be on your side based on what you place, and when your region's this tough, sometimes people will try to play the brackets to get on the opposite side of the number 1.
Interesting. 106, just because he was a freshman, that makes it more interesting, but the 106 bracket had 5 of the top 6 kids, and once again, Tristan Tomlinson going for 3rd.
Yeah, Tristan actually wrestled pretty good. I think it was a 7-2 match in the semifinals with the eventual regional champion, the regional champion for ours. He'd been pretty much the number 1 ranked kid all year. The Newton kid is right up in there too, and we've had some close matches with the Newton kid. There's an STA kid on the other side, but he's on the other side of the bracket, so we're not too worried about him, but we are looking forward to getting back to the semifinals and getting a rematch with the Mays kid. I think the final score was 7-2 in the semis. but it was a lot closer than that. We gave up a late reversal when we were trying to turn him when the kid was just kind of laying on bottom stalling. But we just got dumped a couple times in a short fireman's. If you flip it the other way and when we're almost to the takedown right before we get dumped, we win 7-2 instead of losing 7-2. So good match for him. It's good to see him on film and get a game plan for this upcoming week.
A couple of your kids who have been ranked all year, senior Skylar McMullen at 138 and Cooper Lyles at 150. Both of those brackets had 5 ranked kids, and a couple more big finishes there for you.
Yeah, super pumped for Skylar. He got a big pin in the quarterfinals over the Emporia kid, the Hainline kid, who's been ranked ahead of him all year. Hainline's a tough kid. He's real tough on top, and Skylar didn't let that phase him. And the 2 matches he did lose, he kind of got in his own head a little bit. So that's something hopefully we can fix by next week and get himself his first medal. Skylar is one of those program kids that have been in the program for all 4 years and had some bad injuries for 2 of the 4 years, so he wasn't ever really to see his full potential when it came to state, but we're looking forward to making a run to the medal stand this weekend. And then Cooper wrestled pretty well as well. We got a shot at the Mays kid. We hadn't seen the Mays kid yet this year. Basically, he just hit the same shot on us 4 or 5 times in a row. So now we know what's going to be coming. Hopefully we can see him in the semifinals as we are on the same side of the bracket as him again.
And 2 more juniors. Matthew Johnson had been ranked, I think, as high as number 2 this year, goes 4th place at 175. And then Kevin Schroeder goes in as the number 4 seed, finishes 5th, but pleased to see those 2 guys in.
Yeah, Matthew took 4th. He, revenged the loss that he had early in the year to the Valley Center kid at Dodge City. Was kind of one of those matches that we didn't feel like he should have lost, so it was nice to see him come out and dominate an 11-3 win over that kid. Then we had to run against Padgett kid from Mays, who's the number 1 ranked kid. I believe he's wrestling Division I next year, so that wasn't a very good matchup for Matthew. He was a little bit beat before he went out there, so hopefully he can improve on that mindset if he wants to get himself back on the medal stand. But other than that one match, Matthew wrestled real tough. Got some pins, got some bonus points. Kid in the 3rd and 4th place match from Andover we hadn't seen this year, so we were able to kind of see what he has for us for next week. And then Kevin unfortunately lost a 5-4 decision to the Hutch kid. We beat that kid twice on the front side, but he was able to come back and battle through and ended up taking 5th. The Hutch kid had a real good tournament, though. The Hutch kid upset the Newton kid for 3rd and 4th as well, ended up taking 3rd. So, the Hutch kid was on this week, so, hopefully that's the case that maybe he was just, right on top of things, peaked a week early, and we get our peak next week and get on the medal stand.
And real quick here, 2 more. Caden Hoffman had climbed up to number 5 in the rankings. He goes 6th place finish at 126. And then the big one was freshman Hayden Kelly gets the sudden victory win to punch his ticket to state.
Yeah, Caden wrestled pretty good matches. We did take a loss in 5th and 6th to the Hayes kid. I think we wrestled that kid 10 times. We beat him 9 times. It's just, unfortunate this is the time we lost to him, but that shouldn't affect him too bad. He wrestled the Goddard kid to a 4-0 match. The Goddard kid pinned us early in the year. So he wrestled a really good tournament. It's just his last match just was not his best of the year, but that's okay. We got this next week to fix that. I think he'll be hunting for a medal as well. And Hayden got a nice little win in the backside round 2, the blood round of the regional tournament, where he won 4-2 over a Helmers kid from Goddard. If I remember right, the Helmers kid was a state placer 2 years ago, maybe a qualifier last year. So that was a nice quality win for Hayden, get him into state. I knew his bracket was a tough draw, and he was going to have to beat a pretty good kid to qualify, and he had more heart in it, I guess you can say, and I was super pumped for Hayden to get into state.
And then one more freshman, Trenton Kern at 190, goes in as the number 5 seed and ends up finishing a little off that, but he's also going to state.
Yep, Trenton wrestled, not his best tournament, if you want to know my honest opinion. I know he's just a freshman, but he's got to change that mindset and start wrestling like he wants to get a medal instead of thinking about how light he is or being a freshman, because he had a good game plan against the Newton kid, and he walked out there and just let him headlock us. And then we had 2 matches that were close and the backside, but we couldn't quite finish him. He's going to have a tough road. He's going to have Sean Carroll from STA first round, who's one of the top kids in the state of Kansas. So you never know what's going to happen there, but he's going to have to battle to get himself a medal, and I think he's perfectly capable of doing it. He's just going to have to convince himself that he's just as good as some of these juniors and seniors and stop stopped putting it on. I think he's just a little freshman. And I think we had our heavyweight Brody Schnoblin snuck in there as well. Took 7th. He kind of revenged a loss to the Hayes kid. Unfortunately, the Hayes kid did have the injury to fall. We're hoping he's okay. His knee got twisted up, but he came back and wrestled well on the backside. Gave a run to the Hutch kid. I know it says he got pinned, but we were in the match, only down by 1. We had to take bottom, and unfortunately the kid's size just got to Brody. But he rode him out, almost turned him a couple times. Hopefully we can get some of those turns this weekend.
Coach Brockelman, pleased you got 10 through. Good luck this weekend at Hartman Arena.
Thank you.
More Sports Day after this.
When you need to get rid of the pain, you want the best. You need to see Dr. Dan Quillen at Catalyst Therapy and Sports Rehab. Dr. Dan is Barton County's only board-certified clinical specialist in orthopedic physical therapy. No matter your age, when it hurts, he will help. Call Dan at 620-282-4825. That's 282-4825. Excellence-driven, unrivaled results. Catalyst Therapy and Sports Rehab. Inside the Fieldhouse at 9th and Madison in Great Bend.
Explore the world of Rossum's Universal Robots presented by Barton Theater with multiple showings from March 2nd through the 4th and March 9th through the 11th. In this sci-fi suspense classic, humans have created robots meant to serve humankind, but the robots have other plans and an epic battle between man and machine erupts. The show has been adapted and modernized by Barton Theater from the original 1921 production. Visit shows.bartonccc.edu for tickets.
Ad paid for by Anthem Tax Services. Attention! If you or your business is behind in filing your tax returns, or if you owe over $10,000 in back taxes to the IRS, please listen carefully. The IRS does not joke around and will not stop their collection efforts. If you're tired of the IRS letters, levies, liens, or wage garnishments and would like to get a fresh start, we can help. Due to the financial hardships in the country, the IRS is making it easier than ever to settle tax problems for those who owe more than $10,000. We can help settle your delinquent tax problems, end all collections, and may even reduce your back taxes by up to 99%. Even if you can't afford to pay your back taxes, you can still get the help you need. We've helped thousands of taxpayers just like you, but you must call 800-852-3467 today to stop your tax problem from getting worse. The information is free and the help is real. Call 800-852-3467. That's 800-852-3467. Again, 800-852-3467.
How do you make the most of your land? If you ask the Wrens, who run with us on a John Deere mower, they tell you,
I mow first, then I do all the trimming.
But the Hubbards, who work behind the wheel of a John Deere compact tractor, would say,
if it's something you want, just go after it and try it.
Then there's the Mosers, who may mention from the seat of their John Deere Gator UTV,
you can't be all work and not play.
There are millions of ways to make the most of your land. Learn how to make the most of yours at Deere.com. Nothing runs like a Deere.
Welcome back. Sports Day here on 1590 KVGB 95.5 FM. Good program tomorrow. Of course, Cole Reif's going to be on the show. Anytime Cole's in here, we'll talk Barton basketball and more with the voice of the Cougars. And then Nathan Brockman will be back tomorrow talking with Mike Corson. And they'll be breaking down the men's team coming up and the girls getting ready for state wrestling. And we are going to have Ellenwood basketball coach Derek Joyner in tomorrow. Also Britt Dutton. He went over the 2,000 mark as Ellenwood trying to get a win. It's going to be one of the best 4-year stretches in high school basketball at Ellenwood in school history. So all on the show tomorrow. We'll also tell you how Kansas does tonight. Well, KU, if they can get this win, they'll be in decent shape. We've got Texas Tech and West Virginia coming to Allen Fieldhouse for the next 2 games, but TCU is right there in the middle of the pack. And, of course, they've been ranked for most of the season. That is tonight, and that is a big Monday game on ESPN. We'll have it for you starting at 7:30 on Hits 106.9. KU tied with Texas atop the standings, 10-4. Baylor is 9-5. K-State, Iowa State, 8-6. K-State plays Baylor tomorrow night. And then TCU, Oklahoma State, 7-7. So, crowded field in the Big 12 Conference. We'll We'll have Jayhawk basketball over on Hits 106.9 tomorrow.